Disclaimer, Joss, Jules, and Nevermore are not professional therapists. They will be sharing their personal experiences and advice, but this is in no way a substitute for professional help. There is also a good chance of swearing, tears, and triggering conversations, so listener discretion is advised. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slaying Demons, a podcast about facing your fears in life and being the best version of yourself. I am your host, Jocelyn, and joining me, as always, are my lovely ladies, Jules and Nevermore. Hello, ladies.
Hello. I have to do it
you
that
guys
way
are,
now.
yeah, you guys are so like whispery today, so quiet and seductive. Hello.
It's the fall season. It's starting to get sultry outside.
Is it? Oh, so you just want to like curl up with a nice like hot chocolate in front of the fire and get your sultry on.
Spice latte. Thank you. I mean, as somebody who enjoys it on an ever whatever basis, I don't need to hear it every 5 seconds.
I love pumpkin spice lattes, but
remember when you tried pumpkin spice M&Ms?
Yes, I do. They are a thing that exists to all of my Canadian brethren, so that you know, pumpkin spice M&Ms are a thing they have in the States.
Well, what don't we have in the States? And it's Thanksgiving weekend for you guys, right?
It is. Thank you for reminding me. I need to text my friend because we are supposed to be going to... Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I have a family. My boyfriend has 2 families. My boyfriend has 2 families. And then my best friend decided to have her, we just bought a new house, open house on the Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend. So that for this kind of holiday means that I also have 2 families, which means we have 4 families to see in 3 days. Holidays are so fun, guys.
Yes,
so
they are.
fun.
A lot of quality time.
And I love my family, and I love Matt's family, and I love my friends, but, like, the amount of time we spend in the car is ridiculous. Like, everyone is a significant drive away, like, 3-4 hours in the car, and it is what it is, but damn it, why can't you people live closer?
They're saying the same thing to you.
I know. On Hatchkuma in the chat room saying, Joss has friends? Kicked out of the nerd family. Aw. Nerds can have friends. But yeah, so it is Thanksgiving weekend. I'm excited. I love fall. It's my favorite season. I love when it starts to get cool and I can wear sweaters. I love being cozy. And I don't like the hot because there's only so many clothes you can take off. But at least if you're cold, you can keep putting clothes on.
Layers.
Yes.
That's my thing too. I love that.
Which is so
the girl
funny.
who lives in Arizona.
Right?
Right?
It's only ever hot there.
And it's like, you don't see like naked people running around or anything, but...
Definitely not in Canada in the winter.
Because I live here, like, I have that issue of, like, when it hits, like...
of lots of naked people?
75 is when I start to get cold. And, like, there's, like, a point or 2 difference in the AC where I'm freezing or I'm too hot. And so he's constantly having to adjust it.
And 75, it's so funny because like 75 is just like open every window and be like bask in the sun, you know, the warm. And you're like, I want my sweater, god damn it.
It's really bad. I get cold really easily, so
I get hot really easily.
Yeah. Considering what your normal temperature is, that's 20 to 30 degrees below your normal temperature.
Yeah.
They're like not even real degrees though. They're not like degrees that have any weight to them. They're just like, they're Fahrenheit. They're so small. Like if you were 20 to 30 degrees Celsius below your normal temperature, then you're in some trouble.
Celsius is the OG? Is that what you're saying? Fahrenheit is the poser.
Yep. Oh my God. So on that note, I don't even know how to do this transition other than I need to get us off of this like crazy tangent. But Jules, why don't you tell us what your demon of the week is this week?
Okay, sure. So mine, a little bit of backstory. I have been so pissed at myself because I broke my toe on Thursday.
Oh no.
So Jules, how do you break a toe? Because I know I break toes all the time, but I'm a gigantic klutz and I also play sports. So you put those two things together and it's like my feet are flying at high speeds quite often and they tend to just snap. So I know how I break toes. But I don't know how you break toes.
The funny thing about this is that this is the second time that I have broken a toe and the second time that I have done it while in the middle of a migraine haze.
Oh.
So I've done this now
double
twice.
Pain.
Double,
and bottom.
so it's awful. And so I was in a migraine haze. I took medication which can, makes you feel better, but you're loopy. And so
I've talked to Jules on migraine meds before. It's fun.
It's funny. You just get loopy and out of it. And so I was stumbling through the house just to try to, because the cats wanted to be fed. And I slammed my toe into the wooden leg of my futon, like straight on.
Ugh.
And I heard the sound that nobody wants to hear. And I'm like, oh God. And it's a month before BlizzCon and I broke my toe. And I'm like, oh, at least thank God it's a month before BlizzCon because the last time I did this, I was on my way to Disney World for a week.
Ooh.
And then walked on it for a week with a broken toe, and it was awful. So in any case, I went to the doctor, and they said, there's not much we can do because it's the third toe.
Yeah, it's a toe, yeah.
But, they taped me up, and I actually had, from the last time, I had one of those, like, surgical boots, like the small foot, shoe that I could just put on as hard-soled, and you could wear that, so you're not trying to put a shoe on this painful foot. And they just told me, they're like, you just need to rest. And so I didn't have anything really going on Saturday. And I spent the entire afternoon in bed sleeping because I was so tired and I was in a lot of pain. And I was just like, oh, this really sucks. And I woke up and I felt like guilty and stressed out by myself about letting myself rest. I was invited to go over to Pat Crane's house for dinner. They texted me while I was asleep and they were like, do you want to come over for dinner? And I was just out of it, tired. And I'm like, thank you. Not today. And I feel guilty because I'm being a lazy ass, I
don't think that counts as being a lazy ass though, hun.
But that's what my brain being stupid tells me. Like, yes, I don't feel well. Yes, I'm tired. And I slept the entire afternoon away. What a lazy ass. And I need to be better about being kinder to myself and letting myself rest and not feeling guilty about taking an afternoon to frickin' sleep if that's what I want to do. I feel bad.
I feel like we talked about this, and it might have been when we were still doing Ladies' Night, because I feel like we've had this same conversation with you saying, like, oh my God, I've had a migraine all day. Like, I'm exhausted. I really can't do it, but I'm going to, basically force myself. And it's just like, Jules, like, this is the least important thing that you do with your day. Like, taking care of yourself is the thing that you need to do first, and we will, drink and play heroes all on our own. Like, it's okay if you want to take a night. And, just give the ability to take a knee and just allow yourself to do that. It's really hard to do sometimes, especially for someone like you, who I know is so ridiculously driven. And I think we've actually talked about it on this show before, where just like you with the working too much and your need for, I think it might have been the meditation episode, like your need to kind of slow down and calm down. And I think that this is another branch of the same tree. I think
you're right.
Slow down, chickie. Just slow it down.
Yeah. And, I have to recognize that sometimes I'm freaking human. I get sick or I injure myself or I'm tired. And sometimes my body just needs the rest. And the guilt, I guess there's that driven guilt factor, right? You're saying I should be doing this, or, somebody needs me, or someone has a question that I didn't answer in an hour, or a text that I didn't respond to right away. And it's just, it's a demon of my own creation because I just make myself so, I make myself so accessible, yes, but I also tend to drive myself into the ground because I'm so driven sometimes that it's like, you just slow your roll for a minute. And so
back to it.
The basics behind it is that Jules needs to figure out how to slow her roll at some points, and just and I need to allow myself to be lazy and not feel guilty about it.
That took a long time for me to accept when we first did Phoenix Comic Con. It was the first time we vended there. I had stuff. Nerdtacular was my first ever vending show, but my 8-bit Haribo's were new, and I had just started the TARDIS pattern. And the very first day out of a 4-day show, I sold out, and I only had maybe 6 to 8 of them because I didn't know how many of everything I needed. And got home that night. It's super late because it's open. The first night's a preview night, so it's open till 9 instead of 7, the Friday, Saturday and stuff. So got home, tried to make as many as I could without sleeping. Went back the next day, and I was just drained. The whole weekend, I would just every night was staying up trying to make more. Now I'm to the point where I'm if I need to sleep because I'm exhausted, con exhausted, I'm sleeping. I can't push myself to that limit anymore because, that first year, I think we got food on the way home, and I fell asleep eating it in front of the TV, on the floor, half-eaten food, passed out. I was so tired. And it's just, I still come home and fall asleep on the couch, and I'm dead till the next day, and Ben leaves me there. Because I tell him to, it's not because he's plus he knows that I can be grumpy sometimes if he tries to wake me up and I don't know where I am and what's happening. But it took a long time for me to put myself first in that respect of, okay, if I don't make $10 extra because I don't have more of these, it's not a big deal. Plus, if I stayed up and made a whole bunch more and then they didn't sell, then it's a waste and then I regret it and I'm hard on myself about it. So I finally gotten to the point where I can do that in that instance. And I don't know how to give you advice on how to let yourself do that, but you'll get there, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
You'll find your own path.
I know for me, the thing...
always.
Yeah, and the thing that I struggle with is actually, it's a very similar mental, I guess, struggle. Look at me with all my words. And I think it's the same as, for me, which I think is going to actually really lead well into Nevermore's Demon this week. But for me, it's food, where it's I'll eat something and then feel bad about eating the thing and then just be like, oh, well, I'm never going to get skinny anyway, so I'm going to go and just eat another thing. And I feel like that guilt spiral is the same with letting yourself just relax is I'll let myself relax, so I'll do the thing. Then I'll feel bad about doing the thing. And then so I'll just do the thing again because I'm well, I'm a lazy bump on a log who never does anything anyway. So I might as well just, stay in bed. And it's that kind of negative reinforcement, negative spiral, and very, in some cases, bordering on depression, where it's just it just feels like this big weight, and the longer you let it go on and on and on and on, then the more it compounds itself, and then the worse that you feel in the long run. So I think, that's a lot of the reason why I struggle with a lot of things. It's just that negative spiral and that negative reinforcement and feeling guilty about whatever it is that I did in moderation, to the point that it gets so it's not in moderation anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think all three of us are very guilty of being too hard on ourselves naturally. When you've made them, and I think that every person listening to this show right now would raise their hand and say, I am too. Because we all have that voice in our head that just yells at us for things that we have done or didn't do. And, so everybody's is different for different reasons, but we share the same track, which is you didn't do enough, or you didn't do it better, or, you could do it better, or you failed. And, and that's
what it boils down to, is you failed.
You failed. Or, you didn't do what you thought you should do. Or that's another thing too, is I don't know where these perceptions come into play of me, like, not taking an afternoon on a Saturday. Like, who the fuck cares if
Who doesn't take an afternoon on a Saturday? Like,
right. Like, nobody's gonna care that I took an afternoon on a Saturday and I slept.
mm-hmm.
Nobody's gonna care. But for some reason, my stupid brain is saying, well, I might have let somebody down, or I might not have been there for someone, or I might not have been online when someone wanted me to run a dungeon with them, or, you know, something
oh my
like
God.
that.
That guilt of not being in contact and not being online, I feel like that is a demon in and of itself that we should probably talk about at a different show, because that's something that you and I have talked about that I've struggled with a lot is the amount of accessibility that people have to you now, and then the expectation of contact. So I think that's probably, that's a good demon. I'm going to write it down.
Put that in future demons.
Yeah. But yeah, that's actually really a good one to tackle, I think, is just communication and that expectation of always online, always available. But Nevermore, why don't you give us a rundown of your demon this week?
So my demon's the same as it's been. I know that we're going to do recap shows and all that, but other than the fact that Joss and I always have very similar things, and I even asked her before what hers is. So the one that I've been struggling with this week more than anything else, because we all know that we struggle with a lot all at once, is the weight loss demon. Just, again, it's just, I feel like, I can't explain it because it's frustration, but at the same time, I'm being hard on myself because I haven't been taking extra steps. So I'm expecting results, but not trying to do more about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, and it's been really bad since my coworker and I stopped doing our once a week workout at our apartment gym here. Since she's doing part-time work in the mornings and then going to school now, our schedules don't line up anymore. We're both really busy, and I just haven't gotten the motivation of my own self. Like, I needed that accountability buddy going with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And since that ended, I haven't been going. I've been drinking soda lately. I gave it up for so long and would maybe have it, like, if we went to a party or something and there wasn't any other option. But since, like, a couple Fridays ago, when I had, like, a really, really crappy week and I bought the mats to make the butterbeer adult beverage. Oh my God, I've been having, like, this small little bit of butterscotch schnapps with a little bit of root beer or cream soda in it every, like, day or every other day. And I'm not talking like I'm, like, have this giant glass. Like, it's those little, like, planetary Star Wars ones where it doesn't hold very much, you know. But it's like, I come home, that's, like, my treat to myself for surviving work. And it's like, because I wasn't drinking soda at all, really, I've noticed a huge difference in my body. Like, I haven't weighed myself, but I can just tell that, like, I've gained weight, and it's just frustrating to me. And again, I haven't been going out of my way to, like, be losing it, other than at lunch for work where they buy us lunch each week. I've been really good about choices. Like, on Monday, I got, the last 2 Mondays, because the lady always picks the same place. I ordered 2 sides of grilled chicken, and then I add in little sides of pico de gallo to it, like a little salsa thing, to, like, make it a little bit flavorful. And that's it. Like, I don't have carbs or anything else with it. But then my other struggle is I eat healthy at lunch, and then by the time I'm driving home, I'm, like, starving. And then I don't eat. I've been good not stopping. But then I come home, I make dinner, I, like, inhale mine where Ben's still, like, patiently, like, eating. And then the whole rest of the night, like, I get hungry really late, like, right before we go to bed. Yeah. So it's kind of the snowball effect of everything all at once.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know.
Well, and the thing is, it's super frustrating that when you are making changes to your life, like you said, you're making healthier choices at lunches and stuff like that, to have something as small as, like, one glass of soda a day or, you know, every other day or whatever it is, to have that have as big of an impact as it does, it's so frustrating because you're like, this is my little treat. I'm being so good the whole rest of the day. I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do, and I'm making the choices that I'm supposed to make, which I am still not making the choices I'm supposed to make, by the way. But you know, you're making the choices that you're supposed to make, and then you treat yourself, and then you feel like you're putting on weight, and you're just like, come on, body, like, just cut me a little bit of slack.
Well, and I can pinpoint, you know, like the issues that I'm having and stuff, and obviously like making the change. And Ben and I keep saying that we're gonna do like these yoga DVDs that I bought like forever ago, or go to the gym because he wants to work out before work, and I'm like, screw that, I'm sleeping until the last second getting ready, and then like I would rather go after work. Which he doesn't, right? Especially our new bed.
Right?
So I'm just like, he just doesn't want to have to like go get sweaty and then go to work and then come home and then get sweaty and whatever. So his thinking is totally different than mine, where I'm like, I just want to do it after work, get done, and then be home, instead of doing it before work, and then I would be tired. I mean, I know it gives some people energy, but not for me. So it's just trying to get in that. I asked on Twitter, I know there's the different apps to use and stuff, and I've been trying to figure out which one's going to work for me. A lot of people said they use the Fitbit one, which I have again somewhere, and it needs to be charged. But I want to get in the habit of vlogging the food, because I know that I'm trying in that aspect of it. So I'm like, well, maybe if I can focus more on that, it'll help build like confidence in doing more.
Yeah.
So, or get me encouraged to go back to the gym and stuff. But like, and when I mean like I'm having like soda like with it, like out of like a bottle of soda, like that much in my drink. So I'm not even having like a full like beverage bottle. I don't know if everybody can see it. I can see it on the Skype camera.
You're doing good.
But yeah, so like just, and it's not even a lot, but it's just because I've been having it where I wasn't having it ever. I think that's the issue with it. So we actually just did our Costco run last night. We got just meat and veggies, and I tried to not get, I mean, I don't buy junk food, but even some of the other stuff that we were buying, like I was trying to even stay away from that, where there's even less options, but there's more to kind of snack on when we want. So I'm trying in the home area anyway. So
yeah.
My problem is usually that I'll snack on something healthy and then it doesn't actually fill me up. Like, it's not fulfilling at all. And then I go for carbs. I go for toast or bagels or chips or crackers or, you know, whatever it is. But like, I need that because like well, for dinner tonight, for instance, we, you know, decided to actually cook instead of going out, which is usually we go out or we get something and come back or whatever, but we don't make healthy food choices because neither Matt or I likes to cook. So tonight we had pasta with chicken and vegetables and like very small portions, like small little bowls. And then we had hummus and carrots and cucumber. And I swear to God, I ate 3/4 of a fucking cucumber. I am starving right now. Like, starving.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, I feel like I consumed all of this food, quote unquote, but like, I am so hungry. I feel like my stomach is eating itself, and we ate an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. And I'm just like, and I know it's probably because I'm used to eating things that are, you know, like really heavy, really meaty. I'm used to a lot of carbs. I eat a lot of carbs. And so I'm sure that
I love carbs. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. I'm sure. And a lot of cheese too. I love cheese. Crackers and cheese is like my crack. But it's like, I can't help myself, because when I try to help myself and do the right thing, I feel like absolute shit. And I'm sure that it's just my body needs to adjust to the changes, and it needs to, like, I don't know, recognize that fiber's a thing. I don't know, but I feel like I'm never ever full, no matter how much healthy food I eat. Like I said, like I probably ate 3/4 of a cucumber. Like that's a lot. That's a big chunk of vegetable. Like, it should be somewhat filling, just space-wise in my stomach. Like, it should take up room, and I feel like it's just not taking up any room.
Well, the other night, I was like how I was saying the same thing where we ate, I inhaled it, and then I went to go get more stuff. I got like an apple. I had like a whole apple, and then I think I was still hungry. I think I grabbed like I have little flat pretzels or something. I don't remember what it was, but it's like I kept going back. And I don't know too if gaming I associate with, I love sunflower seeds. That's like my gaming candy, I guess. So if I don't have that, where I'm just kind of slowly chewing something, I don't know if it's like the chewing thing that if I don't have that, I need to go mentally get something.
Yeah, you trained yourself. Yeah.
I have gum, I have gum normally, but I tried a different flavor to have it here just so that it's like kind of a sweetness, because normally I get like a minty thing, but this one's like a bubble mint. But just so I have something to chew on where maybe I'm not thinking about it as much at night. But yeah, I don't know, but I gotta stop doing that in the middle of the night.
Yeah, my struggle has been like that with you guys. It's the same thing. And now that we're staring down, 1 month before BlizzCon, and I know that I'm going to be seen by so many people, there's that extra pressure. And so I knuckled myself down this weekend, and I did two things that I've been trying to keep on doing, and that is to limit my portion sizes, basically cut them in half of what I've been doing. The other one is to think about food as fuel and not as entertainment or a boredom killer or, and so there'd be those times where I'd have a meal and then I'd immediately want something else. And but I had to say to my body, shut up and just sit here for a little bit,
Yeah.
And most of the time, if I can stop myself from the impulse to go get something else, then that urge goes away. And so those are two things that I've been doing since Friday, because it was really hard. I got invited to go over to to Pat's house for dinner, and a bunch of people were over. They had pizza, they had like all this alcohol, and I'm like, oh god, and I filled up on the salad and only had two pieces, like little pieces of pizza, just to try to keep it balanced, right? And I hate every moment. It is a mental battle. Like, you fight it. Your brain is going, just give in.
Right?
Just eat it all.
Every day at lunch, it's like they bring the menu for wherever we are that day. And I'm just like, a lot of the time it repeats. And I'm like, oh, this place only has the one option of salad. I've had this salad every time we go here, whatever. So it's like, ooh, this looks good. Like, you look at something else and I'm like, ugh. But then it's like I'm giving in to this whole thing. But then I chose a salad for lunch. And then the boss's wife is trying to enter the freaking state carnival fair, whatever thing. So she's like, here's like 4 rounds of homemade cookies.
Oh.
Which is like, everybody has to try one.
I was like, the carnival for what?
they have like the county fair or whatever, and she enters like a whole bunch of different categories. So she does her like test baking and then her like real baking. So like, she's like, here, have a homemade cookie. I'm like, how do I say no? Like,
I know.
This is the hardest test ever.
Well,
so
and that
I'm proud of
is
you for like limiting, because oh man, sometimes that stuff's hard to do.
It is a mental battle every single time, and so the mental battle I would play with that one is to say, I can have one, and I can't have any more, and to be okay with that, which is also the mental battle, because it tastes so good that you want more, and so this is what I struggle with, just like you guys. And that is, so I'm fighting it with logic, basically, fighting it with logic. Food is fuel, and I don't need to get that extra helping right now because my body is trying to trick me.
See, but you have that mental willpower where, like Jocelyn was saying earlier, how her stomach feels like it's eating itself. Yes! Because that's exactly what it feels like. And you try to ignore it, and then you're like, oh my god, and then you like go to the kitchen, and I'm like, I have like since we just did our grocery run, like we didn't really have a ton of stuff. I'm like eating little like tiny pickles because I'm hungry and we didn't have like a whole lot of options other than like cooking full things. So I think what I need to do is like prep and portion like snacks and stuff, like even just like the pretzels I bought or whatever. And like that way I know, okay, if I'm hungry, I can go get the 50-calorie cheese stick or something, one, or a small handful of this fruit or half an apple or something. Like have it where it's ready to go to grab and be done versus the thinking. And then you're like, oh, but I want, and you know, it changes as you stand there. So I think I need to like be more prepared in that instance.
Yeah, I think the portioning is really important because I know if I have any sort of anything right in front of me, I will eat way more of it than I should before I even realize it. So if I have a box of crackers or a bag of chips or something, I'll just be sitting there and I'll just be like having one at a time or whatever. And then before I know it, I look down and I'm like, I am 3/4 of the way through this box of crackers. That can't be good for me. That's a lot of salt. So... And I think that's also part of it too. I think both Nevermore and I sound like we have salt preferences. So probably drinking more water is also going to be helpful because that's something that I don't do at all. I never drink water. I am a coffee till I die kind of lady, and I think that's not helping my cause either. Constant
I get my
state of
coffee
dehydration.
And it sits on my desk, and then up till lunch I usually just take small sips of it. And then that's when I grab my water bottle. I'm so bad about drinking enough water. So bad. Mainly because I want ice. And since we work in somebody's house, there's like not a lot of ice available. And there's a couple other ladies who like constantly refill their drink things. So there's not always ice, and that just pisses me off. So I just don't even deal with it. So I need to have like the cool water bottle or whatever. Anyway, I'm particular.
Also sounds like you might get frustrated easily, which is my demon of the week this week.
Ooh,
which is
good one.
Just in general, keeping my frustration in check. I find I get visibly frustrated often over things that are not really that big a deal. And I'm really trying to keep a handle on that because I find that things like what I think other people are thinking of me, I find that often frustrates me when it might not even be true. I find that if I already have things built up inside, like we talked about having difficult conversations last week, if I haven't had those difficult conversations, then people doing the thing that they're doing that they don't even realize is pissing me off, then it gets me frustrated like that. Like my fuse is just almost, it feels like it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter, which hi kitten.
Hi Smudge.
Sorry, he needed to sit with me right now.
That's okay. He probably senses that you're upset, so he just wants to give you some snuggles. But yeah, I find just in general, keeping my frustration in check. For instance, last night, Nevermore and I were running some dungeons with some people because, and we told everybody up front, we need gear. We are not in a good gear place right now. It was my alt. It's a healer. I've never really healed before. Nevermore is tanking. So we were just like, does anyone want to come and do dungeons? And it's probably going to be, not necessarily, next level mythic plus 15 type stuff. Like this is heroics. We just need to get some gear. Anyone want to come? And I find that, I was getting frustrated with myself. I was getting, we were wiping a lot. I was getting frustrated with myself. I was starting to think that I was really crappy. I was getting frustrated with other people who seemed to be getting frustrated. And I was just like, damn it, people, we told you ahead of time. Don't get frustrated. So, and again, like we talked about with you, Jules, that's negative spiral. Yeah. I get frustrated. I think other people are frustrated with me. I get frustrated that they're frustrated with me. And the frustration spiral just continues. And so I feel like I need to find a way to move past these things and not let them get to me the way that they seem to get to me. Because I find I just have almost like this base level of frustration now that is just constantly permeating every bit of my life. And I'm just frustrated with so many things that then the little stuff that people used to, or like that I used to just be able to be like, whatever, like let it go. It's just like, are you kidding me? And like, and I can go from that like normal state of Joss to super frustrated really, really fast now. And I don't like that about myself. And I don't like how I feel that people can hear it in my voice. Because I don't want people to know that I'm frustrated, especially over stupid little things like this. Like, I mean, it's supposed to be a game. Like, this is supposed to be my fun time. I shouldn't be frustrated. And, you know, like, there's also, you know, some points where things will happen in a more public setting, and something happened today, and I don't necessarily want to talk about it in depth, but had it been any other person in any other setting, I probably would have been okay with it. But it's like, something was said, a comment was made, and it like shut me down. Like, I couldn't open my mouth. And it was at a point in my day where it's literally my job to open my mouth. So I was just like, don't go through the computer, Adam. Don't go through the computer, Adam. Okay, all right, and we're back. And so it's just like these frustrations that I should be able to just move past. I'm not able to move past. It's like these big things in my face now. Any advice?
Yeah. I have some advice.
We're getting older and we're crotchety now.
Is that the thing? Am I just like sitting here at my computer like, get off my lawn, you youngins?
Yeah.
Because I hope not. I'm not ready to be old.
There's two facets to this. The first one is the feeling of being able to control a situation. So when you think about, like, when I think about things that set me off, I get really frustrated with things that are easily avoidable. You know, things that you could do something about, or someone, if you know, and then there are times where I get frustrated with the things that I can't control, but I'm easier to let that go because it's just literally sometimes shit happens with life. But the other side of it, and this is a theory from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who is the leading researcher and a theorist behind the stages of grief. And her statement was that there are only two emotions in this world: love and fear. And everything else is a symptom or a listing about either love or fear. And so when you break it down to a very specific, like, why am I frustrated at this? Then, you know, take it down to the lowest common denominator to say, I want, you know, like in the situation with the rating thing, I don't want people to think that I'm incompetent.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't want,
it.
I'm afraid that they're going to think that I'm a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we wiped, I'm like, oh my God, I suck. And I signed up to off tank for our entire raid this time. And we start on Wednesday. And I'm like, holy shit, I suck. Like, my confidence was just like, every attempt was just going down. And I'm like, oh my God. And finally Matt was like, okay, I have to go to bed soon. I'm like, oh thank God. Like, I'm like, I can't take it anymore. Like, I just can't.
Yeah. And that was the other thing too, is like, we just kept beating our heads against the same wall over and over and over and over. And like, Nevermore and I aren't talking, which when it gets to the point that Nevermore and I aren't talking, that's the problem. And like, it wasn't because like I was mad at her, she was mad at me. We were both just being quiet because we were mad at ourselves. And we were just like, we're terrible. Everyone thinks we're terrible. Everyone can see how terrible we are. Meanwhile, we literally set up the whole situation by saying, like, we need gear. We are not going to be strong at these new roles that we've chosen. So bear that in mind. And it's like, everyone bore it in mind except for the two of us. We were just so like, clearly this is not the gear or the experience. This is just, we're terrible people and we don't belong here.
Yeah, and so it cripples you in order to be able to say, we are at an impasse and we need help. I don't know what's going wrong, or to ask someone, can you see why we're failing? Do you understand, to admit it, you have to say it out loud too. And that's so sucky. And so what happens is, again, mental spiral. You're spiraling in your head going, fucking suck. I'm so terrible. They're going to hate me. I can't do this. And in the situation where someone triggered you in the conversation today, they said something that made you feel bad about you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what the situation is, but I can tell you it triggered you because you felt you felt fear of some sort, that they thought poorly of you, or that they saw you in a light you didn't want to be seen, and it freaked you out and put you in a disabled spot. You could not speak. And so my advice is to literally take these emotions, especially frustration, and break it down to the lowest common denominator, love and fear, and say, what is it that I am afraid of? Because in a negative sense, it's fear.
Yes, it is.
What am I afraid
100%, of? Yeah. Because I know, especially in the second situation, it's definitely a perception thing. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't want people to even perceive me as somebody who would speak up. I mean, I did a little bit in kind of a sarcastic, funny way, but then I didn't say anything for like 2 minutes because I was just like, I can't open my mouth right now because they're either going to hear anger, which is not something that I want, or they're going to hear frustration, which is also not something I want. So I cannot say anything right now.
Yeah.
So, and it's all about like how other people perceive me, how, people that I'm doing that. I think everybody, it was on the podcast earlier. It was on Angry Chicken. So obviously, like, if you watched Angry Chicken, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But, so, I mean, in that situation, there's perceptions that my co-host might have of me. There's perceptions that the fans might have of me. Like, I don't want my fans specifically on that show to think of me as anything other than happy, bubbly, positive Jocelyn. And I feel like I haven't been happy, bubbly, positive Jocelyn for probably a month. I think Hearthstone has made some terrible decisions, and I've been vocal about that. And people have literally written in emails saying I'm unsubscribing because not even Joss can be positive anymore. And that, to me, again, is frustrating.
Well, and so if that specifically is how you feel about, like, I don't want people to unsubscribe because I don't want to make them feel bad. How do you then reshape your perspective? Instead of coming on the attack, perhaps, and saying, I fucking hate this. It's stupid. I'm getting ranty. I don't even know because I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
But, if that's the approach that you're taking, what other approach could you take that could open up the conversation with people to keep them, because if they're interested, like, if you still want to be interested, that's what they're looking for. And they're afraid. And that's their response, saying, I'm afraid that even the person who I looked up to the most is losing faith. What faith do I have?
Yeah.
So it's all about thinking about your actions and how they translate. Most of the time I can find the answer to say, what am I afraid of? Whenever I get frustrated with something, what am I afraid of? What's causing this? So,
I want to not yell at them, but not be nice to the person who said this. I want to be like, you don't know, Jocelyn. You shut up.
But you know what the power is in order to say to somebody, you know what? You're right. You're right in your comments, and I know that this is something that you're passionate about, and it's so tough when you are a podcaster and you're criticized.
But why? Well, and that's just because you're the only girl. You shouldn't have to smile and just be like, ha ha ha, all the time. That's so annoying to me too. Ben and John had people write in for them about Azeroth Roundtable because they're like, oh well, everybody's just pooing on WoW right now. It's like, there's nothing to do. It's like, yes, all these other podcasts are switching to overall Blizzard things, and it's like they're like, you're not really talking about anything new. They're like, we can't, there's nothing new. It's like the viewers sometimes have to take a look at themselves to be like, oh, I'm kind of being a jerk right now. Like, maybe I should like figure out how I really feel about this topic.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I mean, in terms of the Angry Chicken podcast feedback, I mean, I did agree. I did think that, you know, I had been a little bit repetitive and a little bit frustrated with Blizzard. Again, frustration comes up again. And I had been a little bit frustrated with Team 5, and I think that we had a few kind of roundabout conversations on a few of the episodes. But yeah, so like I had taken that criticism to heart, and I was trying today to be more positive and to not harp on the same things. And, you know, we just got some changes to the game. So I was making an effort to take that criticism to heart and actually make the show better. And it wasn't anything really to do with that criticism, but it was just, something that just stopped me right in my tracks. And I'm just like, okay, I'm already being seen as not as positive as I should be, and I really don't know how to react to this right now, except extremely negatively. So I'm just going to have to sit here and stew in my frustration and not say anything. And Buttress in the chat room is actually making a good point right now. It says, what happens when someone says I'm unsubbing because Joss is too positive? Which is funny because we've also gotten that feedback before. That, you know, like we are, particularly me, Blizzard/Team 5 fangirls and fanboys, and, you know, like just, you know, why don't you ever talk about what's bad about the game? And then we talk about what's bad about the game, and then we get people unsubbing because of that. So
you just can't win.
Yeah. No, you can't. And you're never going to make everybody happy. You have to make you happy.
Yeah. And so it's like, I mean, and this is the thing.
And that doesn't bother into Jules, though.
I know.
You're never going to make everybody happy. You have to do what's best for you.
It's true. It's so true. And it's the hardest. Like, I have the hardest time, you know, resolving that own advice. You know, I try to remember
I think we all do. We give each other these amazing nuggets of advice.
We're helping each other, but then at the same time, like, you reflect back and you're like, oh, now I get it.
Oh, man. Speaking of reflecting, we got some listener feedback this week from Rue the Insane in Texas, who sent her demon?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Sent her demon in to demonspodcast@gmail.com. So thank you so much for your email this week. She has been reflecting on pretty much everything from our first 4 episodes. So I did cut a little bits and pieces out of this one because it was quite a lengthy email, but thank you so much for sending in your feedback. She says, hey ladies, Jules knows me. Joss, I've long admired your podcast and voice skills, but this is the first podcast to click with me. Welcome. I'm glad you finally found something that I do that you enjoy.
Yay! I'm so glad.
And Nevermore, congrats on your first gig. You're in great hands.
Aw, thanks. I think so too.
She says, somehow I ended up listening to your first cast and then the 4th, and then I knew I was hooked, so I went back for 2 and 3. Boy, oh boy, am I familiar with your demons. Procrastination. Joss and taxes? Yep. Filing an extension is almost a given every year, even though each year I plan to get the paperwork in on time. This time, quote unquote. Exercise. I go through phases of yoga 20 minutes a day via yogadownload.com, which has free short downloads, which is something that I wanted to make sure that we mentioned on the show, because any resources that you guys have for us, I am on board. And I feel like I did yoga with my mom when I was living with her, or when I was living with my parents, one summer in between school sort of thing. Because my mom she goes, I guess, twice a week to yoga, and she just loves it. So I did it with her a few times. And I thought it was kind of okay, but I never really took it seriously. But now that I'm looking to actually exercise and get into something, I feel like I need something that's like short and compact and I can do at home and is easily digestible, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't have time nor desire to, you know, go out and find something and spend big chunks of my day actually going somewhere, whether it's a gym or whether it's a class or whatever. Like, it doesn't fit into my lifestyle, doesn't fit into my my work. Here I am podcasting at 10 after 10. So, you know, it just something I can easily do at home and do kind of as a break would be so much better for me. So I feel like yogadownload.com with free short instructional downloads sounds like something right up my alley. She also had some thoughts on meditation. She says, I think there's enough science now to confirm the benefits, though I've never doubted them anyway. Again, I go through phases. Jules, thanks for reminding me of Insight Timer, which I've used on and off for years. I did not know that they'd added guided meditations, so picked it up again and started using a 2.5-minute one. Yes, that's short, because that's how I know it's best to get into a habit for me. And to see, again, like I feel like we're like the same person. She's like, I need short little things. And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
That's what she said. Wait,
No. Oh,
Anyway.
man. She says, right now I'm not in the mood for counting beads or breaths or reciting a mantra or just sitting. All things that I found useful at times. So the short guided sessions are great. By the way, my longtime favorite website about meditation is wildmind.org. Jules, have you ever heard of this one?
No, I need to check this one out. This was awesome to get a referral on.
Can we go back to the counting beads? Is that a thing?
Yeah. So like there's meditation, like prayer beads.
So it's like a rosary almost, but right?
Kind of, yeah. And
Same.
so it's like a long string of beads. And in order to focus your mind, you're literally just, moving them through your fingers and counting them.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. So that's a method of meditation.
That's funny because like I sit here while we podcast and I always have something in my hand off my desk, like it's a pen or whatever. Right now it's like a little cap to a water bottle. So I
just
almost
to move your
want
hands
something.
around.
Yeah, I need to get like a little stress ball or something.
I have a stress ball. It looks like a Rocket League ball. Maybe that's the thing. I need to squish my ball more. That's how I need to deal with. That's how I need to deal with my frustration. Is squish the balls.
The bead thing reminds me. When I'm doing my perler bead stuff, Ben will steal my bucket of my non-sorted colors, just the mix, and he'll just swish his hands.
I can see
he
how
loves that. I'll have to bring some and let Jules borrow some so she can take them home.
I totally want to. Like, I want to do this and be like therapy.
Yeah, he'll just sit there while he watches TV.
I'm wearing these bracelets now that they're all like these really cool gemstone beads and that kind of thing, and I will play with them all day. And it's just just to move them around on my wrist, and so yeah, I'm totally like that too.
Do you think about what times you're doing that? Have you noticed if it's at certain points that you play with them?
No, I guess I'll have to think about it. I don't know.
That would be really interesting.
Something I don't know that I know, and now I'm like intrigued. I'm like, let me know when you play with your beads.
Bring your goddamn perler beads and let me play with them.
You got it. Free sample.
Oh man.
Anyway, sorry, I was just very interested by the counting bead thing. That's very neat.
Yeah, no, and I think that would be really interesting for you, Jules, to just kind of recognize the times in the day where you might be sitting there playing with your bracelet and you need that little bit of distraction or, tactile feedback or something, and just kind of recognize what it is. And
I know I do it during podcasts. Like if I'm wearing them, like I was doing it all the time during the podcast, just touching them, moving around. And I think I always have to be multitasking. That's my brain is wired. So that's why meditation is tough.
That makes sense. Also, we have a thank you to Nevermore for pointing out unfuckyourhabitat.com. Rue says she's downloaded the app and added a couple of things to it, and it looks like an improved Fly Lady, which is something that I haven't heard of before, but it sounds like it's the same sort of idea. So it sounds like it looks like improved Fly Lady for those of us who aren't into cutesy and rather like the F word.
Go, Rue, go.
Yeah. And finally, she wrapped up the whole email by saying, in spite of my age, I'm late 50s. It sounds like we're having a whole lot in common in our inner lives. You all have my empathy. I'm looking forward to growing along with you. Keep up the entertaining, inspiring, cathartic, enlightening work. So thank you so much for writing in, Rue. This is a great email. Thank you for all of the resources that you've shared. And again, if you would like to share resources with us or feedback on the show or your own demons, you can do so at demonspodcast@gmail.com. We also have a Discord, which is discord.gg/JossPlays, where quite a few of you have been voicing and helping each other with your inner demons. So thank you all for that. You can follow us on Twitter. We are at Demons Podcast. Jules, where can folks find you on the internet?
Jules RPG is my Twitter, and you can find me on there. If you want to watch the other show that I do, which is Tauren Think Tank, it's a gaming-related advice podcast that's on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Central at twitch.tv/Tauren Think Tank.
And Nevermore, where can...
Did you hear it?
Yep.
Yes. I fell out of my head. I was like, no.
You could just see it on your face. This I'm supposed to be professional in podcasting right now, and I just broke a thing.
Oh, I dropped it.
I just saw it on the replay of the video. It was awesome.
Oh my god. So Nevermore, where can folks find you and your particular brand of crazy?
I am on Twitter at Quoted Nevermore. And I also have my Etsy shop, which is geekasylum.etsy.com, which is closed right now because I'm trying to work on getting new pictures and blurbies about everything. And I'm also not sure when it's going to reopen because BlizzCon is coming soon, and I'm trying to make a whole bunch of swag stuff for giving away and selling and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully after BlizzCon, before Christmas and all that, it will be open again.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. I can speak to the fact that she makes really cool, awesome, geeky stuff. If you can see my face right now, I am holding up a Zelda Triforce 8-bit hair ribbon bow clippy thingy that she made me, which I love. So she makes awesome stuff, guys. You should follow her on Twitter and then give her crap for not letting you buy all of her crazy, awesome, geeky stuff. Yeah,
can't buy it if I don't put it up. That's what I keep telling myself.
If you'd like to follow me, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at JossPlays. You can find episodes of this show as well as links to everything else I do at jossplays.com. Thank you guys so much for sharing your demons with me this week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.